What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with Outpost, and I have been saying for a while, with the projection of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker at the box office, that Jumanji, the movie that was released before it, opened much lower but has had this steady climb, was eventually going to overtake it, and today is that day. This weekend, you can see right here, this is the box office numbers. Bad Boys for Life comes in $60 million domestically, pretty decent opening for them. Doolittle, right below it, 1917, and then Jumanji, the next level, makes $9.5 million. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, less than 8.5. Over $1 million. It's now over The Rise of Skywalker, and Jumanji just keeps rolling. It is, it's funny. It just really is. There's no other way to describe it. And you can see this huge box office theater drop off for The Rise of Skywalker, and that news came out earlier this week. A couple days ago. Box office, The Rise of Skywalker loses 1,200 theaters, continues to plummet. And we know, we've heard all these rumors about the contract that Disney basically forces these theaters into. They have to have it playing on their theaters for 4 weeks if they take it. They have to. And now you see all of them that have realized it's not performing, they immediately drop them all. And that is a huge part in why Rise of Skywalker is now below Jumanji with that huge theater drop off. Just incredible. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the Rise of Skywalker actual chart. We'll see how it looks here. And you can see, like I said, like we've talked about before, after that big Christmas boom, it really fell off and stagnated and now is just barely creeping along. Whereas you have things like Jumanji, which has had a decent run. You can see that even though it started off a little slower, it is just steadily climbed and climbed and climbed. People enjoy watching it much more than they enjoy Rise of Skywalker. And then another article that you can see here is from Forbes as well. It's our boy Scott Mendelson. It's a decent perspective on what this means. Box office, Rise of Skywalker turned Star Wars into a $6 billion wash. And he's basically talking about how the response to The Rise of Skywalker and this Disney sequel trilogy has left everyone like they just don't care. So not only have they not really made all their money back, but they also are sitting there and now they have to recreate Star Wars. This was supposed to be a new beginning, a launching point for Disney Star Wars, but now they're back to square one and really have to fix everything. They have to come up with a new idea, a new way to relaunch Disney Star Wars to get people invested again. And I'm not going to read through the article because it's typical Mendelson. He's using just a lot of what he's said before, so I won't go over all of that. However, it is important to note the number that he's talking about. The Rise of Skywalker will only make it past $500 million domestic because most of the competition either moved to 2020 or crumbled. And he's right. When you look at what was supposed to open in this month, it all moved away. It all either got delayed or got scared and moved. And also, all of the things that came out, with the exception of Jumanji, were just box office dumps. Like, it compares it to some of the ones in past here. Wonder Woman 84 and Universal's No Time to Die, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Death on the Nile all fled November, December 2019 for 2020. Imagine if it had all that competition, what this movie would have done. And then, if Frozen 2 and Jumanji were really the only things released in that November, December that Rise of Skywalker had to compete with. Everything else was box office flops. Richard Jewell, Cats, all these things made effectively no money. And then here's where he talks about why he's saying he thinks it's a wash. The 5 Star Wars movies have earned around $5.87 billion worldwide in just over 4 years on a combined budget of $1.256 billion. Sure, but the thing is, and then you factor in the $4 billion that they paid, but that's just the budget. That's not counting the advertising budget that goes into it. That's just the production budget, the reported production budget. We know that it's much more than that. In fact, in the UK alone, they have told us that it's been $2 billion just to produce Star Wars films at Pinewood Studios in the UK. So that number is very skewed. It's not a wash. So that's why I disagree with Mendelson. It's definitely not a $6 billion wash. This thing is still that they're still in the red from Star Wars. We're never going to see the numbers, right? They're never going to show us those numbers, but you can just put things together and find that that's very clear that they are still in the red. They still need Star Wars to make money. But that's the news. I wanted to come out and say that because I have been saying that on streams. I've been saying in a couple videos that I think Jumanji was eventually going to overtake Star Wars, and I thought it was going to be hilarious. And sure enough, Jumanji, back on top of Star Wars, making more money, even though it was released earlier, even though it had a much lower production budget, even though it's just kind of a campy film, campy action film. More people have retained interest in that than Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. But what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think of anything else? You know, I haven't seen anything else on here. Bad Boys 2, Doolittle, 1917. Haven't seen those yet. I do really want to see 1917. I've heard from a lot of people that it's really good. I'm kind of surprised that Doolittle beat it. It's 2 Universal Pictures out. Obviously, this is the opening for Doolittle. I've heard some pretty bad things about it, and I've heard great things about 1917. But there's also a big difference in that theater, too. I don't know if it's just because of the rating or what it is, but 1917 is only out in 3,600 theaters, which I find a little bit strange. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, mostly about Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker falling behind Jumanji and just everybody finally coming to terms, all these theaters dumping this movie, realizing that people just don't have an interest in it. Let me know. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video out there, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.